All right, a lot of these are going to be two-part questions. So let's see what's going on. It says determine the value of the variable and the angle measures based on the provided algebraic expressions. Okay, lots of words here. All right, so determine the value of the variable. So we're going to have to solve for the variable and the angle measures based on the provided expressions. So we know that all these angles inside here add up to be 180 degrees, right? All three angles of a triangle add up to be an interior 180. So what that means is we can take what we're given. So 3y plus 9, and then 2y minus 12, and 10y minus 12. And if you're not okay writing it this way, you don't have to. Like you can come through here and do this if that makes more sense to you. You're more than welcome to do that. Okay. I just find that this makes it a little bit easier for me, especially if I'm putting it in a calculator, like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15y. And then this, I'm just going to plug into my calculator to make sure I don't make any small errors. But hopefully we know negative 12 and negative 12 is negative 24, right? And then we're going to add 9, which gets me negative 15. So for me, it's just easier that way for me to do it this way. But if you want to come over here and like do it this way where you circle them all and get the 15y and then negative 9 or positive 9, negative 12, negative 12, it's the same thing. We're just working it out a little bit different method. Okay. So whichever method works for you, go ahead and do that. Then all we have, either way, we have the same problem, is a two-step equation. So to solve that, we have to get y by itself. So we're going to have to add 15 to both sides of the equation. So it's addition property of equality. So again, I'm just going to use my calculator so I don't make any mistakes through here. It gets me 195. And then I'm going to divide by 15, and that gets us y equals 13, right? So y is going to equal 13, and it's going to make you type that in first, I believe. Let's see. Yes, and then it'll move you to the second one. So you can't move to the second one until you get the y first, or the variable first. Then it wants us to know the measure of angle WXY, because remember that's what that means. So let me change my color here since we're moving to the next question. And it wants to know the measure of WXY. So WXY, it wants this angle right here, which means all we're going to do is substitute in for y. So we said y is 13. And then again, that's going to get me 39 plus 9. And 39 plus 9 is 48. So the measure of that angle is 48 degrees. 48 degrees. And there's our answer. Okay. So first thing you need to know is all triangles add up to 180. If you don't already know that, put that into your memory. Okay. All triangles, the angles add up to 180, which means then we just add each piece that they give us and then solve the two-step equation and then substitute. Okay. So lots of processes with this. So we'll do quite a few together to make sure that you're good before we let you on your own. So let's see. Oh, wait, it wanted more. Okay, so this is actually a 4-part question. So now it wants the measure of XYW. So XYW is this angle here. So we're going to substitute into that as well. So that's going to get us 26 minus 12. And 26 minus 12 is 14. So we're going to type 14 in here. And then it wants YWX, which is this last one, obviously. So that means we're going to do 10 times 13 minus 12, which is 130 minus 12. And that gets me 118. Okay. And again, if you want to make sure before you hit this last one, you could add all of these together because all of these should add up to be 180 because triangles equal 180. So yes, that's correct. So let's just hit the check mark on that one. And we have all of, there's another part. Oh, geez, these questions are long. So now it says, based on the measure provided, which of the following lists the side measure from largest to smallest? Okay, so let me clear this up. All right, so the side measures from largest to smallest. So let's go back up here. And if you remember, okay, so I'm going to say large to small, and we want the sides large to small. And let's just go ahead and label this. So we had WXY was 48, and then Y is 14, and this is 118. So if we're measuring the side lengths, remember it's always opposite the angle. So it wants largest to smallest. So my largest number is 118. That means this side length is going to be largest. So we're going to have XY. And then the next biggest number is going to be this one here. So that's going to be WY. And then that leaves obviously WX for XW. So when we come down here to our options, we're just going to make sure that it equals what it says, what we showed. So XY is first, then WY or YX, or YW, and then WX. So it's this first one. Okay. So that question had lots of moving parts to it. This next one says, based on the measurements provided, which of the following lists the side measures from smallest to largest? So in this case, you're going to have to do all of this, what we just did step by step by step. You're going to have to do it and then get to this anyway. Other things we need to make sure we know, this little box right here, hopefully we already know that's a 90-degree angle, right? So when we add these together, again, it's going to equal 180 in totality. So I'm going to do 4n minus 15 and 5n minus 3, and then a positive 90 equals 180. So again, it lines up my like terms for me. That's how I like to do it. And then again, in your calculator to make sure you don't make any mistakes, that gets me a positive 72. And now I have my two-step equation. So I'm going to do subtraction property of equality is 108. And then division property of equality is 12. So I know this is 90, and then we're just going to substitute this in. So 4 times 12 minus 15. Just going to put that in my calculator, and that gets me 33. And then 5 times 12 minus 3. Just put that in the calculator, and that gets me 57. Oops, let me put it in here. So it wants me to go from smallest to largest. So last one was the opposite direction. So make sure you pay attention to that. It wants smallest to largest side measures. Okay. So my smallest goes this direction. So that would be AB. So I'm just going to write it down over here so I don't have to scroll. Then it would go CA. And then it would go CB. And remember, these can switch directions. So let's scroll up and see which one matches. We had AB first and then CB last, so it's got to be this one. Okay. All right, so this one takes us step by step. And you can always scroll. So it does all of them broken apart. So it's the same thing. It's just asking you to kind of check it as you go. 9n plus 15, 2n minus 15, and 2n plus 11 is all going to equal 180. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13n. These cancel out, so it just leaves me 11, or you can put it in a calculator. And then we're going to do subtraction property of equality. So 180 minus 11 is 169. And then division property of equality, we're going to divide by 13, gets me 13, okay? So it tells me right here, we got to put that in, and my answer is 13, so I'm correct. Then we're going to go QRS. So instead of having to trace, if you remember when we talked about this way back in the beginning of the school year, the R is the angle in the middle, so that's where we're looking. So R is going to be this one. So I'm just going to go 9 times 13 plus 15 and just put that in my calculator. And that gets me 132. And let's type that in. Okay, then it gets me S is what the next one wants. So let me go back to my pencil. And for S, because again, it's in the middle, it's going to be 2 times 13 plus 11. So that's 26 plus 11, which is 37. And again, you could just put it in your calculator, make sure you don't make any mistakes. There's too many steps here to be making that kind of error. So that's 37. So let's type that in. And then the last one is Q, because again, Q is in the middle. So let's go here. And that's going to get us 2 times 13 minus 15. 2 times 13 minus 15 is 11. Okay, so in here we type 11. Then it wants to know, let me erase just a little bit here. It says based on the measures provided, following list side measures from smallest to largest. So we want to go smallest to largest side measures. So in that case, let's see, smallest to largest, 11 was my smallest. So opposite of that is going to be RS. And then 37 is my next smallest. That's going to be QR. Or we can flip those around. And then the largest was 132. That's going to get me QS or SQ. And let's see what one it has. So RS was first, then QR, then SQ. There we go. Okay. So again, lots of steps. They're not overly complicated. It's just a long process. That's like, why are we having to do this? And truthfully, my only answer is because sometimes things in life take a while. Like, I don't really have a better answer. Let's do one more together. Again, it gives us 90 degrees right here, which is kind of nice. So we know that that's 90. So we're going to have negative 4y plus 6, and then negative 7y plus 7, and 90. And we should know the interior equals 180 degrees. And then just combine those terms. So negative 7 and negative 4 is negative 11y. And then 6 plus 7 plus 90, oops, I put negative in my calculator, is 103. Then to get this by itself, I have to subtract 103. So 180 minus 103 is 77. And then division property of equality tells me it's going to be negative 7. Now, sometimes people get here and they think, oh, that can't be negative. Well, it can, because we're going to substitute it in here, and the angles can't be negative, but y can be negative. Okay, so be careful with that. So let's go ahead and just type this in here. And then it wants the measure of QRS. So again, R is in the middle. We're going to go over here to R. And that's negative 7 times negative 7 plus 7. So negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. Plus 7 is going to get me 58. I'm going to type that in. Oh, I did something wrong. Let me go back to my calculator. Negative 7 times negative 7 plus 7. Oh, 56, my bad. See, just go back and check, that's all. There we go. And then it wants RSQ, so we want to go to S because it's in the middle. So that's going to be over here, negative 4 times negative 7 plus 6. I'm going to put that in the calculator this time, not make mistakes here. Plus 6 is 34. So 34. And then it says based on the measurements, we want it from largest to smallest. Okay. So let me change my color again here so it's a little bit easier to see. We want the side lengths from large to small. So my largest measurement was 58, 34, 90. So 90. So that's going to get me SR. And then my next biggest is 58. That's an angle R. So that's going to be SQ. And then 34 is my smallest. So that's going to be QR. And let's check the list here. So SR is first, or RS. So it's these two. And then my last one was QR. So it's got to be this one. I always do first and then last. It makes it kind of easier for me. So if you need to schedule a one-on-one time to talk through this, I understand there's lots of pieces here. Be sure to send me a message. Other than that, 10 points, get more math.